Now that might create chaos, but hello, you know, I'm well known for liking a bit of that.
Have you heard the Michael Anthony show?
The business of America is broke, and you need a businessman in to fix it. Oh, sorry, man, you've hit hard moment. It's still there. It's all right. The cod's left the building. Fuck! What lovely toilets you got, though. Really neat.
Yes.
What a surprise.
Which is always important.
So here you're dressed down, right?
Yeah. How's the mic fitting you there in terms of this bit?
I'll arrange it.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen any of them psychology things? They're all over YouTube.
What's psychology?
With the experts going
Like
on about if they're guilty or not.
Yeah.
You know.
The fucking CIA shit.
Yeah, it's daft as fuck, right? You can't fucking spot a proper liar. They know what they're up to. Hold on.
What are you taking there?
Sudafed. I've got allergies up the wazoo.
Does Sudafed work, or is it not just myth?
It does, because it's slightly speedy. All the other ones
What do you mean by speedy?
What's ephedrine? What do you think?
Yeah. Is it drowsy at all?
No, it's fucking
That on?
wacko up
What
there.
about this one?
Well, you don't mind if I have a beer?
No, I'll have a look.
Damn, so I can't get out of this one then.
Vero, see that light box just above his head?
Are you sure that's your suit? The pants are awfully short.
I'm trying to do a 1950s doo-wop thing, you know what I mean? I'm trying to do a Michael Jackson show.
Michael Jackson.
Yes. Would it make you feel more comfortable if I lowered them?
Right, but I just said that to him at the time too.
To Jacko? Did you ever meet him?
Nah, I would have liked to.
Do you rate him as an artist? You'd have to.
Oh, you got to. That's some of the most fabulous music. But, you know, was he guilty or not? I don't know. I can't make judgments on that.
You'd have to think he was guilty, but
I'm very worried when there's
Guilty,
public execution before. You understand?
Guilty, but...
I thought you were offering me another one. I never thought of you. I'm such a pig.
they robbed him of a childhood. They made him obsessed.
If it was a sex thing, they'd fucking hang him high, right? But if it was that he lost his childhood, now I can understand that. He just wanted to
recapture it, so he was hanging around
so
the
he's
kids.
a little bit backwards.
Yeah. Yeah, he was
the
like
moonwalk.
arrested development cycle.
The moonwalk. He was, it's a proper dancer, but in reverse.
Yes. Thank you. Is it all set up?
The bottom?
Yeah.
I can't smoke in here, can I?
You probably can. You probably can.
Can we open the windows?
Yeah, please.
Yeah.
I want to jump.
We get the Tesco bag out of the shop too.
Yeah, but it's an ashtray. I was really pointing.
What we use is Vero, get that coffee cup maybe as an ashtray. The windows are good. Yeah.
What's that?
Oh fuck! Sorry about the burps, but
everything's set up. Everything's good.
Everything's set up. Do you want me to remove that bag? Do you want to leave it there?
oh no, that's my love bag.
Is it
Everything
love
I
bag?
know is in it.
Yeah, no, leave it. That's
Leave it there.
character.
Yeah, no. Alright.
Everything's good. That's rolling.
Now you make me look thin.
Looking great.
No, I have the same concern. Yeah. How do you? Thank you. How do you manage the weight?
The weight for what?
Like you just said, can you make me look thin? Do you like? Diet?
Oh, that kind of weight.
Yeah. Would you watch what you eat and all that kind of stuff? Just leave it to the night.
I'm big lunged, aren't I? Because I took up diving years ago, and that's my hobby now.
What do you mean by diving?
Aqualung.
You go underwater.
Yeah.
With the two things.
Full on regalia. Yeah.
For how long would you be underwater at one point?
But 40 minutes is pushing it.
Where do you do that?
I do that in California.
Yeah, what's California like to live in? Does it
It's all right if you like earthquakes, floods, rock slides. Yeah, other than that.
what about politically?
Politically, it's a fiasco, right? It's so many people here are so BBC-led and thinking, oh, that Trump's a bad man. Man, live, you live under the last 4 years in America, you know that the Democrat Party has run the country into the ground. Anything I will vote for, so long as it's not politicians as usual. Now, that might create chaos, but hello, you know, I'm well known for liking a bit of that because you get better results.
Do you think Trump's a bad man?
Probably is.
Like just a fucking Egypt, to use Irish term.
Well, I met him once and I didn't like him. Neither here nor there.
Where'd you meet him?
It was at an awards ceremony for VH1, and I had a show called Rotten Radio before Rotten TV, and they invited me to it, and it was all right. But my lovely wife, who was alive at the time, for some reason he was going in with Jennifer Lopez, and Nora trod on her dress and tore the train, and they went nuts on us.
What did they say?
Oh, who let that sort of person in here? Gorgeously fiasco. You're going to wear a dress that's 15 foot long, you know. The business of America is broke, and you need a businessman in to fix it. Plain and simple. And if you don't, well, then, you know, at least it's a break from that geriatric senile delinquent Biden.
Do you get more angry about left-wing traitors because they were supposed to actually represent the people, so that's why you get misconstrued as being right-wing then?
Yeah, there's a lot of that in me, yeah.
It's more like when the left adopt fascist policies like groupthink, it makes you more angry. It's
when I was young, the Labour Party was, you know, Irish immigrant parents and all that, was the party that would take care of us and get us proper housing. I don't know what it is they're up to now, other than lecturing me on Karl Marx and nonsenses like that.
Like, what do you make of Keir Starmer?
Oh, God almighty. Now, not many people voted that in, so I will give that as a benefit to the British public. But frankly, he's hanging on for dear life now, isn't he? He must be the most unpopular fella in Blighty.
What do you think his motives are? Wants to be the class captain, wants to still be the good boy in school and wear the badge.
There's a lot of that public school in it, isn't there? And that's the trouble with all the alleged houses of education, every public school, private school, or the universities, is they're all following a dogma which is completely antisocial to working class people. And therefore I resent them bitterly. They dictate policies rather than life's experiences.
Did you ever think of running for politics?
I run from them.
I'll just close this because the noise is getting there.
It's nice to be able to have a ciggy and a beer. Thank you.
Yeah, so you take like...
So I do things for logical reasons, me. It's not just like, oh, let's be awkward.
What is the solution to just society functioning fairly and people not having the fucking...
A good wrecking ball like Trump. I don't believe I'm into Farage because I don't know which way that fella swings at all.
In terms of what?
In terms of politics, or in the other way, dodgy. You know what I mean? He's like an opportunity. He's like someone you'd meet at a fairground. Do you want to buy one of these watches?
In your experience of life, though, what's the closest thing to a well-run society from the top down you've seen?
Oh, probably Italy, where no one believes in any of the politicians. They vote for insane creatures. I mean, when I did a film once there with Harvey Keitel called Cop Killer, there were demonstrations everywhere, anti-American, but it was all like, well, you know, Reagan, I think, was visiting, but that was on a Saturday. So the Italians decided to demonstrate on a Friday because Saturday's their day off. That kind of logic I like, where they're being reasonable about their own selves.
Individuality.
Yeah.
They care more about what kind of olive oil they're having for dinner than they actually do
And it works, doesn't it? Right?
Sex,
and if
rest.
it's better than granola.
So you think British people, American people, we've had it embedded in us to nearly take life too seriously? Always need someone to blame as opposed to looking after our own.
Oh, well, that's the welfare state we were promised. Right? That's the entrapment of it all. That everything will be great if you just vote this lot. But it hasn't proved to be the case. So, yeah, a wrecking ball, I keep saying that. Someone who you might absolutely loathe as a human being, but it's something to shake up what I call the shit system. Business as usual is not working, right? And this is, why I said years ago, what do I think of Trump? And I jokingly, off the top of my head, said, it's the Sex Pistols of politics. And I tried to rethink that and take that back. And then I went, no, you know what? That's damn fucking right. That's on the money. That's what you need, right? You're never going to get things to balance
It
out
undermines
and be
formality.
perfectly if you don't fucking start dismantling and threatening the cozy positions that a lot of people have adopted.
Yeah, so Trump being in now leads to surely a better left than we had under Biden. And
Shirley? Don't call me Shirley.
you put a wrecking ball in there and 10 years down the line, you have a more moral political spectrum because...
You've got something to gauge it by, rather than business as usual, which is failing. When something's collapsing and falling in on itself and aggrandising itself, and this is Keir Starmer's Britain now, I mean.
Do you think that you've always kind of had like a severely positive, like your level of self-belief?
Well, I'm more
often,
utopian than Ethiopian. How's that for a Londoner?
Would you say that you've been called angry?
Yeah, because it is a fearful, ferociously intelligent energy that you should never ignore.
Is anger a precursor to actually love, though?
It's all relative, isn't it? I've had angry love moments.
No, but I mean, is the reason that you've so much passion and could like reinvent how you sing into a microphone, that be kind of shouting what you mean with no concern
Well,
for
you
like
sort
octaves?
yourself out when you're a songwriter, see? This is like, you shouldn't assume it's all one way or the other. You have to assume all angles and aspects in order to get the thing clear. As an example, writing a song like Bodies in the Pistols, that's is abortion necessary, but it's from the child's point of view.
Did you adore your mother?
Yeah, very much, but
She was the
her
be-all
honesty
and
was
end-all.
overwhelming. When she'd say stuff to me like, we considered having an abortion with you, right? That's formidable bricks to be laying in your head at an early age. But she knew I'd be smart enough to figure that out. And that ended up as a
Irish
Sex
mothers
Pistols
are
song.
extremely honest in that way, though, aren't they?
Oh, yeah.
But it nearly strengthens you for the outside world, because if you can manage the honesty you receive off an Irish mother, no fucking offence is going to get you again.
Yeah, and no cover-up for your laziness or your cowardice from mum or dad. Right? If I'd be chased down the street by a mob of bullies, there'd be no way I could go home and
say I
go,
was bullied.
Daddy, help me.
Yes.
He'd go, get the fuck back out there and sort it out. That'd be it, right? That's a good approach.
Do you think it's a good approach?
Well, I'm here,
Yes.
right? I'm not moaning about sillinesses.
So when you see, obviously, the modern world of Instagram saying, my child was victimised for being...
Oh, yeah. Oh, stop it.
Just go fuck yourself.
Well, look at the brats they've created from it.
What about your father? Good guy?
A bit of a hooligan.
In terms of what?
A toughie. A small little fella.
Did he hit you?
Oh, yeah.
Not for the crack, though. Only if he...
No, but you'd have to have done something really wrong. Again, example, well, we got caught breaking into a factory nearby when was it 6 that way, and a policeman came round with us, like, holding our collars. It sounds like some old Dickensian thing, but it's the truth of it. And he said, is these your sons, me and my younger brother? And I went, nope, never seen them before in my life. Disowned us. That was the lesson, right?
Yeah.
Our own dad, right, denying we existed. And that was obviously a game that the adults understood with each other, you know? And the policemen go, oh, it's terrible, nobody wants you.
But imagine how they were treated as well, though.
Very much harder. Mum and Dad had nothing but horror stories about growing up in Ireland. They both spoke different Gaelics, but that was practically illegal.
The father was Galway, the mother was Cork.
Yeah, and that was no Gaelic in school. They had to learn English. And that's kind of part and parcel of the reason they never taught me any Gaelic at all.
But you know the way you got the meningitis when you were 7 from the rat-infested water?
Yeah.
Do you reckon it was your mother's commitment to saying, my son's not going to fucking die here? Is what kept you, like, do you know what I mean? That condition in the year you had it, that's a death ticket.
Yeah, it was then.
And she retrained your brain following memory loss and literally...
She taught me to read and write before then, so, you know, she obviously wanted her investment to work out. They apparently came every day, but I had no short-term memory. I had no memory of them. I had no long-term anything. I could barely coordinate physically in any way,
Do you remember being in the hospital?
I remember moments of it and kind of getting used to the institutionalism of it.
Remember actually getting sick?
Yeah.
Or was it just a headache?
Yeah, when those things come back, the memories, they hurt like mad.
So you just got a pain in the back of your head?
Serious pains. I still get them. Meningitis doesn't go away forever. It comes back in flashes. There's swipes of it. The headaches, the flashbacks, and the feeling lost. And I've got to say that, you'll get memory blanks every now and again. One will come along, and that's terrifying. But that helped me with Nora when she was suffering Alzheimer's, see? Because I could relate to that.
So you knew what body betrayal was. You know what the body turning in on you and going against your brain actually meant.
Yeah.
How hard is it to live with someone who has Alzheimer's?
You have to fight for every memory because they'll forget who you are. They'll be terrified because they're in a place they just don't recognise. But you have to find a way to break out of that. And
so you don't ask them questions. You don't put them on the spot.
Never ask an Alzheimer's victim a question ever, right? Because you're compromising their brains straight away. What you must do is learn to go with their flow, let them ask the questions, and then they'll find themselves again and they'll be, so happy that they figured this out for themselves.
Did Nora ever say to you that she knew she was sick?
Yeah, she knew. Yeah, we knew. Listen, I'd say 10, 12 years.
What are the first signs of something like that? Just weird levels of memory?
Driving down a motorway with her, suddenly hitting the brakes and saying, where am I? Right? Dangerous moments like that. And the only way we could get home, and I couldn't drive at the time, was like I had to guess it. But that was it. I said, no more driving. She was a race car driver when she was young, so that was very hard on her. But she understood. And we had great moments. I got to tell you, I'm lucky in that we were so good with each other always. That she had an incredible sense of humour for a German lady.
Yeah, Germans can be cold.
You'd think stoic.
Would you have mocked each other?
Always.
Is that the secret to long term?
Always.
Taking the complete piss.
Yes, to be absolutely brassically barefaced honest with it, because then it becomes funny. You know, again, examples. No, I'm getting fat, hanging around looking after you. Oh, you're not fat, Johnny. You're just big boned. You know, how Alzheimer's is that comment? It's so excellent.
There's a beautiful innocence to it. It brings you back to the childhood nearly. You know what I mean? You're sharing that playfulness. What age are you now?
I'm 69.
Is there any time where you stand back and you look at it and go, lead singer of the Sex Pistols wrote those iconic tunes, changed so many people's lives, or do you keep living in the present and moving forward? Do you ever look in the mirror and go, I mattered that much?
I haven't got the time.
Will you ever pat yourself in the back?
No.
Why?
No, because that's when you're giving up, isn't it? You know, when you're looking for the laurel wreath. No.
Have you ever had to rely on that previous greatness to get through a really tough time that came after it? Like to
I
remind,
don't know about the greatness either.
to have the bollocks to leave the Sex Pistols and do your own thing.
Well, that's me, and that's the kid that Mum and Dad raised. Never have self-pity.
Were you never impressed by anybody?
Oh, there's many that I loved what their work was, and then found them out to be horrible people, but it still didn't affect the records that I loved, or, you know, if we're talking just music. It's generally best you don't meet your alleged heroes. God, I need amphetamines to catch up with this interview. It's kind of, but it's cosy to me like that. It's just like, I feel like I'm in a pub with mates.
Well, do you remember where you were when you wrote, like actually sat down and wrote the lyrics to Anarchy in the UK, God Save the Queen? Where'd you go? Did someone play the music first and you took the notebook and you went to the pub?
God Save the Queen, I remember, because it's something to do with sitting at home at my mum and dad's place in the kitchen, and there was nothing to eat except some baked beans, which I still love to this day. But I sat down and I wrote out God Save the Queen, the original form of it, and I like that very much.
In one stream of consciousness, or would you be crossing out lines?
Yeah. It just comes out because I'm constantly thinking all the time. Right?
And then would you not edit it because you're going, I felt that then, so why go back?
These days, I'm just constantly writing, and I write more than I can catch up with. I'd say if I put 800 pages of thoughts together, I'll be lucky if I get 2 lines out of it that make any. Otherwise, it's fucking James Joyce.
Do you like Joyce?
Yeah, Ulysses was hilarious. I could understand that
stream of consciousness. Yeah,
that's what it is. But that's a tough one for Paddy to be admitting. It's just, you know, this is how I'm thinking.
When you're writing new songs now, though, are you journaling every day? And then when you say 800 pages, there's 2 lines. How do you go? That goes in, let's say, Hawaii.
It depends what will come back, and then I'll try to remember where I've written that and see if, like, my train of thought was equal to where I am at that present point. I mean, it's all fun. It's a jigsaw puzzle, right? Of, I'd say, complete fucking chaos, actually. But out of that chaos, I find an organisation. And I wouldn't have had that. It is a skill, the organisation.
That's fending for yourself in terms of your brain, isn't it? It's like, here's the ashtray. Your brain is a bundle of fucking thoughts. How wouldn't it be if all these stimuli from all these senses?
Yeah. That's the fun of James Joyce, that he was teaching me when I was young reading that that's how I'm thinking and feeling, right? This is real, not organised thought in the traditional way that authors love to go, oh, and then I had this feeling.
Yeah.
Go fuck yourself.
And how can that be true? And it's so weird the way it's never questioned. It's never questioned. And it's not just authors, it's even musicians.
Oh, you can smell the fanny a mile away.
Nothing can be organised when it comes from your own brain. And it's the corporatisation of art.
Yeah. Again, that's the class system, isn't it? You know?
So don't pour the beer into the ashtray.
It's only a little.
But it's because they fear imagination is what takes them down.
Yeah.
Imagination is what will swap the money. So in order to pay you for your gesturing, you have to present it to us in the same way that we have our Sunday dinner and we do the gardening.
Yeah.
It needs to be structured.
Well, unfortunately, I can't be that fake, so there you go.
Did you know before the Sex Pistols were big that you were going, you know, when you had like Oasis, Liam Gallagher comes along and they kind of...
they had specific ambitions.
Yeah, but they say like we were going to do this. When you knew God Save the Queen and this is actually getting recorded, did you know this is going to make such a noise that we're going to be massive?
No, absolutely not. No, none of us thought anything about it other than let's have a laugh. And that's what we did. And that's why it was so free. and without rules and regulations, and why I could write what I wrote, because that's what I believed in. No one's going to listen. Who cares? There's really no hope for this going anywhere. And that's kind of why it was.
So who were you singing to? Like when you're elongating the vocals? Like when I hear
Probably to myself.
Really?
Or my mum and dad going, look, I've got over meningitis.
Who are you influenced by vocally? There's a bit of Bowie, isn't there? There's a bit of Bowie with the elongation of vowels.
Oh, yeah, but I'd go back to Lydon, actually, or anybody that had a bit of, like, London in them.
Yes.
Right? So, and Lydon, a great Irish name for my old man's a dustman. Tommy Steele when he was young, before he got to Little White Ball.
It's extremely authentic as well, though, the way you would have had the opportunity, even since, because the Sex Pistols are so iconic, to become like an Americanized version of the former Sex Pistols frontman, and you've never.
I've always had opportunities.
Yeah, but you've never taken satisfaction off.
I know, and I won't join those.
I'm a celeb, was surprising.
Yeah, because I turned it down for 2 years running. I'm a celebrity, right?
Yes.
That is what you said. But I agreed to do it if they would ship a load of money to some charities that I was rather fond of. And so that was the deal. And so in I go into the jungle, not knowing what to expect, thinking it would be a little phony and fake, but no, it was real. They got fake and phony later.
But you're actually hungry and all in there, yeah?
Oh yeah, the starvation, and listening to that lot whinging about no chocolate cake or hot showers.
And you left, didn't you? You fucked off.
I did, because they made a promise that they would tell me my wife arrived safely in Australia, because I had to fly in beforehand, because we were taking care of Ariana's kids at the time, and she had to make arrangements for their welfare. So the deal was they'd tell me she arrived safely, and they would not. So that was it. Fuck off. And there's a logical reason, again, in my life for that, in that we were booked on the Pan Am Lockerbie flight years before. I missed that because Nora couldn't pack a suitcase in time. There, but for the grace of, we could have been blown out of the sky. And so whenever I wasn't travelling with her, I'd have that serious worry, and they knew that.
You booked a ticket on the flight, you missed the flight, and the flight went down. Do you remember where you were when you found out the flight went down?
We went back to bed, and then I think 12 hours later, my brother rang up from LA, going, they've told us you're all dead. Thank God you answered the phone. And my response was, fuck off, I'm tired. I didn't grasp the reality of that. Right? You don't at the time, you think he's joking.
Do you fear death at all now at this point? No, because obviously Nora's gone.
I'm utterly fearless about it. Right? But wherever she's gone, I want to be.
Does that make life better?
Yeah. I have less fears now than I ever used to. Right? And I've got to say, losing my best mate, Johnny Rambo, too, same thing. And Sid, and my mum and dad, and there's a whole wall of people I could.
What was Sid like as a bloke? Was that just a childhood mate who you kind of saw vulnerability in, so wanted to take with you on your journey, or what? Like, because was there a darkness there when you guys were much younger?
I wasn't getting on in the Pistols. Glenn and me never could ever see eye to eye. He's your typical left-wing private school.
Did you ever have a good day in the studio though, when you were writing tunes?
Not really, not with him.
Did you ever
Most of the bass playing on Nevermind the Bollocks was Steve anyway, because Glenn had already walked out on us. So, you know, the only days they used him was when I wasn't in the studio. They'd sneak him in the back door, like.
Would you ever go for a beer after like, the production was fully done and go, we've done a good...
No, I never went anywhere with them socially. I hung out with Paul Cook for a little bit, and I'd take him to my part of London, and And people seem to like him.
You were brought together by Malcolm, were you? Malcolm was kind of, he arranged.
Well, yeah, he was the shopkeeper that said, you know, look, I got 20 quid. Would you like to join a band?
Was Vivienne Westwood authentic punk rock and roll, or was she always about making a pound?
She was Malcolm's school teacher at university and taught him art and clothing nonsenses.
Did you get on with her?
No, she was a vicious, very self-minding, officious, dictatorial bitch from hell. May God help her rest in peace, but she would never stop being catty to everybody about everything. Really
overly controlling, or what?
Yeah, obviously a control freak, but
is that why she was so successful?
Probably. It does help.
Like, let's talk about football for a second. Fergie.
God, you are jumping me.
Do you respect Fergie as an Arsenal fan? Do you go, that is a footballing genius?
You mean Alex Ferguson?
Alex Ferguson, not fucking Sarah Ferguson. Would you say Fergie top football manager?
I think the idea that he was almost going to join Arsenal would have been a revelation.
When was that?
Before Wenger got the job. He bragged about it.
That Arsenal offered him the gig?
Yeah. It's sport to me. I love my Arsenal because that's the team my dad took me to see when I was 4. This is your local. You support.
Who's the best gunner you've ever seen? Liam Brady?
No, he was fantastic, that fella. And I'll tell you what was also great about him was that even after games or practice or whatever, he'd come into the local pubs and he'd hang out with the locals. That was very important. Quite a lot of the players were like that in them early days.
When you were in the Pistols, were any of the players getting onto you to come to gigs and all that stuff?
Well, I tried to go to Arsenal when they had Bruce Rioch as the manager.
Just before Wenger.
Oh, God. So he sees me backstage saying hello to Tony Adams and all that. Because, you know, it was sort of the same kind of class. But he goes, "What's that hooligan doing here?" And had me removed. And I thought that was an accolade. Because in the early Sex Pistols days, when we tried to do gigs up in Scotland, the Lord Provost put out a statement saying, "We have enough hooligans in Scotland without importing them from the south." But to hear Bruce Rioch reiterate those words to me at my beloved Arsenal.
But how big would the Pistols have been if you'd stayed with it and done 3 or 4 records?
No, it couldn't happen. I knew I didn't want to do any more of this. It was very fast turning into what I thought showbiz. And you know, the next album's going to be about this, that, and the other. These are people I've never ever seen in my whole life. Suddenly there's board meetings being held by record companies. So I went, no, I'm doing a walk. Can't stand that. I used as an example, everything's about examples, really. But I said, I don't want to turn into the Rolling Stones and just keep trotting out the same kind of stuff, right? Well, you've got to bear in mind, too, I was writing songs in the Pistols towards the end of, like, Religion, right? Which features on the Second Pill album. And there's no way on earth that trilogy of Nausea could understand it.
It's a very interesting way of seeing how you actually saw the world.
You can't say that. You know, this is just from people that paid no attention to what I was writing anyway.
Have you had many people in your life, friends, lovers, say that you're too stubborn?
No, I'm very malleable.
You don't have an obsession with being right?
No. But I do like to be right.
What is the story with your stance on the Palestine-Israel thing?
Judea.
But
I just think of the word Judea.
No, but if we look at it...
And then I know the Jews belong there.
If we look at since the 2023 October the 7th thing,
that was so nauseating.
But 70,000 deaths in Palestine now on their side.
Well, you reap what you sow.
About kids dying, Jan.
Until that organisation...
What do you mean they reap what they sow, though?
That organisation, Hamas, wants to exterminate every Jew off the planet. Right? And I'm sorry, the Jews have had enough of that. Stop it.
But they're bombing schools on a daily basis. There's children dying.
Well, that's where Hamas are hiding the weapons, aren't they? What can I say about that?
So an organisation of extremists.
If you start a war, don't expect...
I don't think they started the war, though.
Yeah, they did. They're going into Israel.
But this war dates back half a century.
That was a peace festival.
But the war dates back half a
Babies wrapped
century. When you
into
see Netanyahu, what do you think of that man?
Oh, fuck, I hate him. The implication of Zionism being ultimately evil, how is it? Judea. It's in the Bible,
Children
fella.
not having a life,
Jews.
legs
They're
no longer
Jews.
existing, getting bombed every day. Humans be humans. Forget religion, forget Judea. Look at the numbers on each.
I was aware of the rockets coming over from Palestine all the time I was there. It was a constant flow of it. None of that seems to matter. I have to know why no Arab Muslim nation wrapped around the Palestinian issue is offering any help whatsoever.
There's the US-backed and UK-backed Israel bombing the shit out of children.
Young children were burnt alive on the 7th. Now, you cannot pretend otherwise. Deal with it.
But now thousands
Hamas filmed themselves doing
this.
Now
thousands are. Do you not think there's a responsibility to end a genocide?
Then could you end Hamas, please? Would you do that for me?
Well,
as
Hamas,
an organisation.
It doesn't have the same causation of death, blood.
Oh, yes, it does. Exterminate all Jews. And because they're so extremist in their Muslim point of view, it also means exterminate Catholics, Protestants, Christians, Hindus, Buddhists, anyone that isn't of their philosophy.
What do you make of the Islamic situation in England? Or someone like Tommy Robinson?
Poor old Tommy, he's misunderstood. He's a Luton supporter, so I've got doubts, right?
But do you think it's a genuine case of that he's misunderstood?
I think he should have every right to say what he says.
But do you not remember in your book in 1994 you made the great point that the middle class need to turn on the working class, and when the working class have no one else, they turn on the immigrants?
It is a class war. There's always been that in Blighty. And what we call middle class now are really spoiled, privileged. They live in areas where illegal immigration isn't an issue, and yet they insist that we conform to their political beliefs, which make no sense to working class people. And if we were to have a working class point of view, we're immediately labelled racists and or whatever. And that ain't the truth.
So why do you think people come to England who are Muslim?
To do better for themselves.
To
you
leave,
would hope.
To leave.
Illegally? There's my issue. Huh? You're breaking into me house, mate. Fuck off.
But,
and the same's happening in Ireland.
But it's the same government.
Come on, Connor!
The same government. The same government. Are you serious about the McGregor shit?
Where I believe what he's saying when he says the time for politicians has ended. That's a nice slogan, but I'm not quite sure I'd like to follow him into the next situation, because he's a little on the violent side. A misogynist can only exist because there's enough women to support it, so blame the women for allowing it to happen.
How can you blame the women when physically we have the advantage of size and power, which subconsciously we don't just address because we've built society
then you're
around?
admitting there is a difference between the sexes.
Absolutely. Man is a stronger species, and if
we're all anti-woke by definition.
I'm not woke whatsoever. The trans issue got out of hand, absolutely, and I do think that there's a lot of false feminists.
And it's created a mess. I cannot tell you I have all the answers, but I do see the logic in both sides. This is how I view life. And I'm trying to work out the yin and yang of it. But at the moment, it's to call us a truce against an organisation that is determined to exterminate you and all your babies were wrapped in barbed wire.
And that's now happening daily, nearly 2 years on.
No.
At the hands of aerial bombs.
No. It's an attack against who attacked. That's how that is.
Times 40.
Well, it's not a numbers game. It's about
what is
right.
Of course it's a numbers game when it comes to human life. When it comes to human life.
Going to attack me, I'm going to pull up every single thing I have to make sure you never, ever do that again.
October the 7th gave them the excuse to finally ethnically cleanse.
I think you'll find it all facts and numbers about deaths here, there and everywhere, all fucking lies anyway, depending on who's
What do you mean by
talking.
that?
Where innocents weren't murdered.
Is this a war? Is this not just a bombardment?
It's a war. It's a war to stop the extermination of your peoples.
Exterminating
There's no
the other
Jew
people.
yelling, let's exterminate Allah and his clan, is there? It's quite the opposite, actually.
Well, the bombing says more than that statement.
Well, good, hello, we got better weapons, so fuck you for starting it.
I just don't know how you could mean that.
Yeah, don't you? Well, you fucking well should.
Do you think that's on the side of moral correctness? I know
Ireland fought for its independence. It was get the Brits out. But the Brits left, didn't they? Well, they hung around.
Were the Brits not told by the Yanks, get the fuck out of there?
Which Yank told them that?
De Valera, who was born in America, had links.
De Valera. What a fun name. Mum and Dad didn't have many good things to say about De Valera.
Were they more Collins?
Collins, yeah, and Barry. Because my mum's family is Barry, so...
Did you spend much time in Ireland as a kid?
Every year, every summer, yeah.
And what would you do?
The schools were out. We'd basically run around with no shoes and be Irish, I suppose.
Did you like it?
Not at the time. The farmhouse, which my granddad built himself, was bigger than what we lived in London. So that was fantastic for that. Amazing that their pet donkey and horse liked me. Amazing that my granddad, who never spoke to me at all because he viewed us as English, but he would take me fishing. He made his own rowboat and he'd take me out with a net catching mackerel. I was thrilled at that. You know, fantastic stuff. But it's only in later years when you look back on it, I suppose in a romantic way too, just how fabulous that was. Right? The gift he was giving me, and not a word said, you know, and in ferocious seas. These are all words and lyrics I use in songs ever since. They're all directly related to those moments.
Because it was a focus on nature, life, and calmness and stillness.
Yeah, and the danger of it, and him being oblivious to that. And that rocky fucking Cork harbour, and huge waves, and he's standing up there drunk as a skunk.
Would he be drinking, yeah?
Yeah, what? Murphy's Stout.
Would you be a hypochondriac at all, or do you avoid doctors? What do you do?
Well, I'm doing this now because I cancelled a doctor's appointment. So how hypochondriac is that? I'm supposed to have a medical for the tour, but I don't know. I mean, the drugs I'd be wanting to codge, he wouldn't be supplying.
Were you ever into drugs back in the day?
Well, I love amphetamine. Oh, yeah.
Were you ever doing coke?
No, I don't like that. Coke is like 3 hours, 30 seconds of a high and then 3 hours of feeling miserable, right? Heroin I've tried once.
Injected or smoked?
Yeah.
Injected?
Yeah, that was, the bad news that the Heartbreakers brought to England. It was with Jerry, the drummer of the New York Dolls. And he was like getting the shakes. And so I asked him, what is it you need? So I took him to a chemist. I bought him a couple of bottles of Dr. Collis Brown, which was legal at the time, which is basically fucking opium in a bottle then. Oh, that's great. You must try while I'm in there. And so when he did finally score, one bang up, and I hated it. That down and that everything's supposed to be nice, but it's not. Your stomach's turning, like your magic mushroom.
Where did you inject it? In the arm?
Faint. No effort, like just like, oh, how is that interesting? It's the drug that people would turn to that wanted to avoid issues in themselves. So
What about weed?
I hate it generally. Modern stuff, like that's just erotic. I can't imagine Bob Marley on that stuff.
So would you like? would you just like a drink?
Fat Chance Hotel.
Would you just like a drink and a coffee?
In them early days, we'd all be on like a hash, really. Bit of tar, bit of Lebanese. But they all just would burn my throat out, you know.
Do you drink much?
No, I gave up drinking now for the last 6 months, but today...
Why'd you give it up for 6 months?
I wanted to not be in a habit. I was using alcohol, particularly the death of Nora, as an escape, trying to like, put the pain away, really.
Did Nora have a big funeral and all that stuff, or how did you do it?
No, we did it very, very quiet and private. Listen, she died so painfully, gasping. You call it the death whistle.
And were you watching this?
Yeah. Hour after hour, and then trying to adjust her to make it more comfortable and like... And I'd been warned this would come, and you know, we had endless doctors, and their advice was, until it's really serious, don't ring the ambulance. But I had to, and she basically died. And they took her off the bed and they put her on the floor. She basically died then with the respirators and all of that. And they asked me, it's the saddest thing when I think about it. Would I agree to not try to revive her? And I was coward enough to say no, I couldn't agree to that. I couldn't make that decision. And so I suppose now I look back on it, the next 2 hours between the ambulance and getting to the hospital must have been quite torturous if she was anyway conscious, but I don't believe she was.
Why do you think you couldn't agree to it?
I couldn't say bye. Couldn't do that.
Yes.
Oh, sorry, man. You've hit a hard moment. It's still there. It wasn't like it happened instantly, like you're trying to tell you. There's a good 10, 12 years leading up to this moment. So it's like silly me not being prepared for it. You think you can handle it, right? But it's like every situation in Alzheimer's, they go through phases, right? Where the legs give up and you think you can handle that phase. So you get walkers and then it's wheelchairs and then it's rash temperamental moments of forgetfulness. And
does anger come in due to their own confusion?
Oh, yeah. Which is why I kept up a constant situation of comedy shows. When she first came to England, she wasn't very good at English. She learned it, but it was from a school. So we'd sit and watch Steptoe and Son while I was a sexy pistol. And which is great because when I was younger in hospital, those are the things I remember now. And she would remember bits and pieces and oh God, the smile on her face. But, you know, and then that very awful day, but you know in their eyes, the eyes have gone. There's no more shine.
Do you believe in the afterlife or any of that stuff, or what's your take?
I don't know. I have no idea, and I don't think I can believe another human being who hasn't been there and come back. But wherever they've gone, I'm not fearful of being there. Because if they've gone through that, the sadness when my mum and dad died was equal. Easy. It's all equal. It's just...
Why didn't you have kids?
I'm not capable of understanding the loss. I was on tour and she had an abortion because she didn't think I would like it. sweetheart, you know.
Thinking of you.
She thought, she thought that would interfere with like my work, for instance, and so I could never hate her or be angry about that.
Do you think having such a loving mother is what makes you destined to meet a good woman, because you need to have that standard of affection?
I think kids brought up with that love of a mother are definitely disturbed.
Yeah, much more so than without the love of a father.
Yeah.
Sid Vicious's mother was a heroin addict.
Yeah.
It was the fact that the
he had
selfishness
nothing,
of
poor sod. He had nothing. Oh, just this vague innuendo that his father was a grenadier guard. Poor Sid.
Did you get on well with him though as a mate, like when you were growing up?
Absolutely.
Like, was he the best crack?
Yeah, a natural born mimic.
Was he annoying you at all in the late days with the Nancy stuff?
That was sad because it was heroin addiction, big time. And
did you ever try to get involved?
I tried to get him off it. I tried to get several people off heroin, actually. Keith Levine in Peel, but it's a thankless job because they will never. You can make them break the habit, but they'll go back into it thinking you're a cunt for stopping them. It's just the way that is.
Because they think you're trying to rob them of their joy, or what is it?
Yeah, you're bringing them back into a world of guilt.
Could Sid play music, or is it overrated?
No.
How about, yeah, proper shit? Like,
No.
Could he do G, C, E? Could he follow up the neck?
Sid hasn't got a GCE.
Proper bad, though.
Listen, I asked Lemmy to teach him. You know, I got him to join the band first, and then I thought about that. I know, I feel sad about that. But
in why?
Because he was too much for him, and I thought that might have, like, you know, the realisation of that he just couldn't handle that. Oh, he got money, but he spent it on heroin, didn't he? So, you know. But Lemmy couldn't teach him. 3 days later, Lemmy's ringing me up going, John, I've got to tell you, he's completely talentless.
Did he stab the woman, or was that...
I don't know what went on there, but if you're getting involved with heroin dealers and you're owing money, shit's gonna fucking happen. And in particular in New York, right?
But you couldn't see him, based on knowing his personality, to actually have been the person who did it?
No. I know that at the time, indirectly, Mick Jagger put up a lawyer to help Sid's case, but it was too far gone. We'd been slagging them lads off, hadn't we? But it was very sweet. But I was fighting against an uphill battle because Malcolm was seeing it all as, oh, the publicity, you know, oh, the chaos, without any respect for, hang on, this is a young lad that's about to, you know, go down, and a dead body in there.
Did you ever meet John Lennon?
Him and Yoko Ono put out a book where they slagged me off royally.
What about Paul McCartney?
Met him. Yeah, met him twice. Actually, you know, all these years later, I find out that he's the genuine talent and songwriter there.
Yeah.
I did not know that. I just thought he was this simpleton. I could tell straight away that this bloke like had a real heart. But there was a time where we met before. Me and Nora, we were going in a cab to Tottenham to visit my brother, who's an Arsenal supporter. And there was a traffic jam. It was a Sunday afternoon, and it was outside Harrods. Right? And across comes running Paul and Linda McCartney, and they're banging on the window, and they got all these bags. John, it's you. I got so shy, so nervous. I just put the lock on and hid down low. And Nora going, what are you doing, John?
Were you afraid to live up to the persona? Did you hate
I couldn't
it?
handle it at that moment. I suppose you could call that starstruck.
How did you have the bollocks to go on stage then?
Preparation.
Were you prepared for that? Yeah, did you know I'm going to hit this angle? I'm going to do.
I do that every gig. Yeah, I go through torture before I go on.
So you're
self-doubt, every foible, every fault, and actually look forward to it. It's stage fright.
Which is nearly just hard work, isn't it?
It is. But if you don't have that doubt, you'll never be able to do it proper. You've got to throw every weapon that's going to be used against you before it happens.
Predict the elements, yeah, before they hit you. I'm going to go take a quick piss and then we'll do 10 more minutes and finish up. Is that good with you?
Hey, I'm fine.
Good man. Alright, we've got 2 minutes.
It's all right. The cod's left the building. He left the cameras on. Ever a swine.
Who's checking in still recording?
Hey, he's awfully quick fire today, which is a bit hard on a jet laggy.
Go, man.
Oh, it's nice to have a drinky with you. I like it.
Would you bother with love again?
No, I don't think I can.
Yeah.
No, I'd feel very bad about that. Yeah, I think I'm better off alone now. That was a hard one, to have to face that. But, you know, my prospects I was imagining were bleak, but they're not bleak at all. I'm perfectly happy to be alone, because she's still in there.
When you're alone at night, like what you do? Watch a bit of TV?
I go to bed early because I like the sun rising. There's no curtains or blinds in the bedroom, which I like.
Yeah.
And it has that morning sun, and I like that. I like to be up. I don't think I'll be lonely. No.
Why, would you be on the phone to people all the time, or what do you do?
Well, I'm not one of the world's greatest masturbators, so it's you appreciate what you had, and you can't duplicate it. So it's like a new chapter in a book. And I don't know what that chapter is yet. I might marry a rhinoceros. Who knows?
Do you ever re-watch your young self on YouTube? Have a few drinks and just type in the Sex Pistols.
Oh God, I used to do that with Nora, and she'd go, "Oh, who's that?" Even with Alzheimer's, she'd have a dig. That's how close we were. I miss those moments.
What's the story of royalties off Sex Pistols tunes? Do you make much money off them still?
Well, if the records sell, yeah.
But like if you're played in a TV show or a movie.
Well, how much money do you think's in a thing like that? That's, you know,
There's nothing in it, isn't it?
Regis, isn't it?
Do you get no money off royalties up in the lyricist?
Well, what's it, a penny a tune, you know, per million viewers? No, that's not the stuff that's going to keep me financially secure.
Is that why you're back touring, or is this not just a passion project to kind of keep
it's
you in?
passion, of course it is. But Public Image is very, takes care of itself. We raise the money to go out on tour, and on that money we set aside, or it's already all organised, for recording. We'll be writing on tour, bang out a new album, which we'll all be very proud of, and then if there's profits on that, we can start the cycle again. The wheels on the bus go round and round.
And do you cook yourself breakfast and dinner and all that stuff?
I don't do breakfast.
You skip it?
Yeah.
Do you remember you got fat for a while?
Yeah, I have glandular problems, right?
That wasn't just from eating the American fast foods?
No. Meningitis left me not very physically.
How did you lose all that weight, though?
I don't know, actually. It was swimming, of course, and diving.
And did you start, like, not eating? You started watching your diet and all that stuff?
No, I couldn't give a toss about that. But it kind of helps if there's nothing in the fridge, you know, because it's an issue, isn't it? A man alone shopping.
Do you go to the supermarket?
It just don't happen often enough. And I'm not one for the veggie salad, right, either. I tried the Jordan Peterson, like, eat meat only.
Carnivore shit.
Yeah, get out of it. You'll never get out of the toilet comfortably on that.
What about modern music? Do you give any shit about it, or do you just think it's just...
Well, it's all now on Sirius Radio or whatever, and those are things I won't subscribe to. It's odds and sods I can hear there and everywhere. I do like YouTube for that.
Is there any acts nowadays you like though?
No, it's I'm so fully immersed in my own songwriting and my own experiences and seeing obviously the comedy in life that I don't really have time to focus on other bands. The only one I like really would be the Viagra Boys. I love their videos. They seem really oddly Irish to me.
You're doing a spoken word tour, aren't you, next year?
Yeah.
What's that going to entail for anyone who's going to it?
No script, stand up on stage, handle it, right? No matter what comes. And it's always a good giggle fest. I got to tell you though, right, seriously, that when I did that after Nora's death, that helped me no end. The audience really showed that they liked and understood me, which I didn't really know up until that point. Well, you can see yourself on the front of a magazine here, there, or whatever, but that's not quite the same as up close and personal. Yeah. And that eye contact, marvellous stuff.
Have you ever gone to a psychotherapist?
What? Have you pay money to talk to someone?
Have you ever done that?
No, only in reverse. You pay me and I'll talk.
So that's the philosophy of life, and that's how you're going to go out on your own fucking terms. And that's your message to the people.
I've had a life full of really valid experiences, haven't I? Learned to decipher what is and isn't.
And what if people have just not built up that sense of self-worth that they are just complete victims to following the words?
I can't help them, can I? Only by example.
Do you nearly think they're cunts and they're the reason why we have all these fucked up politicians in? Because the politicians are a manifestation.
Should people have the right to vote? Well, this is where your Labour Party's going, so be careful.
I wouldn't say my Labour Party at all. I couldn't give a fuck about British politics.
The generic year. I adore individuals. Do
you have many friends?
A handful, but they're very, very different than me.
Do they live near you in Malibu?
No. So some are thousands of miles.
So is there anyone you'd go for a coffee with on a Tuesday?
I wouldn't do that anyway.
Would you not? No?
No, not at any age, ever. I would find that dull and kind of, I don't know,
pointless.
Sequeous, there's a word.
But not just for a few cigarettes and a coffee and a catch-up.
If I accidentally bump into someone, but no, not as a way of like refreshing myself, no.
You have never needed it?
No, I don't think I do.
Fascinating worldview, fascinating talking to you, and I hope you enjoyed being on the Michael Anthony show.
Oh, is that what it was? Oh.
That's what it was. The Michael Anthony show. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope that we went over.
Well, you kept me on point.
Pat Jennings or Seaman?
When he joined Arsenal from Tottenham, that was hilarious.
Do you hate Tottenham?
Above that kind of behaviour, I know they hate Arsenal. So fucking what?
Do you watch every Arsenal game?
Yeah, in America it's all on and it's free, and if it gets into that routine of every Saturday morning at 7 a.m. or 4 a.m. depending on what kick-off, you know, because of the hour difference, like, I can't be fucked with that routine.
First time ever that you've worked with McGee or what?
Well, he recommended you. He's determined to find out what the real me is. Many people are. But I speak my mind. There's no dark secrets or vendettas or
sexual abuse in childhood, none of that shit.
No, I was very lucky with that, because the priests always thought I was an ugly little fuck, and they were right. But we were smart kids, you know. We knew what they were up to, and we kept away. The ones that got caught tended to, well, be either too stupid for their own good, or they had a leaning.
Do you think a lot of the priests were gay, and that's the reason they joined the priesthood, is to use celibacy as a
I think it was
match?
the most excellent way of avoiding family issues and particularly in Ireland, yeah.
That's
Which is, when I look back on it, actually a real problem. Mum and Dad talking to the local priest, going, "Oh, should we recommend Johnny for the priesthood?" Oh, furious. What on earth were Mum and Dad thinking I was? It was viewed as like the nut house, you know, where the stragglers went and just got shoved into that corner, and everyone could go, "Holy Jesus."
Are you a fan of Shane MacGowan?
I loved him. I knew when he had a fucking thick English accent.
Who for you was the bar of, like, when it's all said and done, is the person that you think is the greatest to do it?
I think the one that's shown the most longevity is Jesus Christ. There's a star.
Christ was a rock star, though, wasn't he? It's essentially what he was. He was the first guy to say,
Yep.
"Follow me. We don't know why we're here,
Yep.
but I know we're here to create something of meaning for ourselves." He was Lennon, wasn't he?
Yep.
Jesus was John Lennon. Jesus was Bowie. That's what he was.
You worked it all out.
John Lydon.
I could see a play coming on.
Appreciate you.
Thanks for putting up with me.
Thanks for putting up with me.
Before I skedaddle, do you mind if I have another ciggy?
No, do it, absolutely.
I've got another fucking half hour of English traffic. Would you like one?
Yeah. Cheers.